My mom signed her house over to me before she passed away so I could properly support my family of 5 after she died, but my greedy oldest sister lied to the entire family and told them mom wanted me to sell the house and split the money as an inheritance, and now they all think I'm robbing them. Posted by you/top_protection_6367. I, 28F, have 6 siblings. Our mom recently passed in November from stage 4 cancer. I had a really great relationship with my mom. We would spend time together, and my 4 children, 5-year-old twins, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old, all loved her. I am the youngest of all my siblings. My older siblings didn't prioritize much time with my mom until the last few months when she couldn't do much for herself anymore. I currently live with my boyfriend, 38M, and our 4 children in a 3-bedroom apartment. It's a nice apartment, but of course, it's not ideal for our large family. Over the summer, while my mom was still very coherent, she signed a transfer on death of her house, 5-bedroom, 3-bath, to me for myself, my boyfriend, and our children to move into. She did the transfer so I wouldn't have to buy the house, as we would not be able to afford a loan for it. And her house had less than a year left until it was completely paid off, so we would be able to afford her payments that way. All of my other siblings own their own homes and have plenty of room in their homes for their individual families. I didn't ask my other siblings if they were okay with this, but I didn't see it as their decision or believe they had a say, considering it was our mom's house and she had the final say anyway. And like I said, all of my siblings own their own homes anyway. Once my mom passed, she had some medical bills that needed to be taken care of, so it seemed as though we would need to sell the house to cover them. After looking into it more, my boyfriend said he would buy the house at just enough to cover the medical bills, rather than what it's worth, considering we cannot afford its full value. Plus, my mom had planned on us just moving in and not doing any sort of loan anyway. She had a cash inheritance, which she left to my oldest sister, Melanie, 43F, to split equally among all of my siblings. Since my mom passed, we've asked Melanie how much is left in the inheritance, as it would be split 7 ways, and she would always kind of dodge the question. She would say she hasn't counted it yet or she's unsure. My mom also had some coins that were worth some money. She had 4 coins worth about $3,200 and a 5th coin worth about $1,200. I only found out about these coins from my other sister, Rochelle, 35F, because she told me Melanie thought about giving a coin worth $3,200 to herself, Rochelle, my brother Nick, 37M, and me. The coin worth less would go to another hand-picked sibling, and then they would just never tell the last 2 siblings about the coins at all. That really upset me. I understand the coins gain value over time, and that's why they didn't want to pawn them for cash to split it equally, but that is really unfair, and considering there are not 7 coins, I believe the fairest solution would be to pawn them for cash so everyone could be involved. I suggested that and then never heard anything else about the coins after that. Then one day last week, when I had Rochelle and my niece over for dinner, she dropped a gold coin out of her purse and quickly put it back. I never said anything, but I couldn't believe they decided to kick me out of that inheritance because I stuck up for the 3 siblings who were going to be slighted. Well, flash forward to a couple of days ago, my boyfriend got approved for the loan. I told Melanie about this to keep her in the loop, and her response shocked me. She told me she did not feel comfortable selling the house to my boyfriend. I didn't understand, because selling the house to my boyfriend was just a way for us to keep the house and pay my mom's medical bills. And my mom's wishes were for my family to move into the house. After I got off the phone with Melanie, I called Rochelle to see how she felt, but she couldn't talk right away. Once I was able to talk to Rochelle, it was very clear Melanie had gotten to her first and manipulated the situation. So I texted the group chat with my siblings. Essentially, they all want to sell the house at full value to a stranger so they can receive an inheritance of cash from the sale. Melanie had very obviously made them believe that my mom only transferred the house into my name so I could take care of selling it and splitting the money with all of my siblings. That wasn't the truth, and I tried telling them that our mom did not do that, but Melanie had manipulated the situation. For context, Melanie is the oldest, and all of our siblings can be pretty easily manipulated when it comes to her. It sounds terrible, but it's true. I can see right through it and try to say my side, but they are all on Melanie's side. They all want cash from the house, but I want to live in it like my mom had intended. Like I said, my mom transferred the house into my name. So I am going through with selling the house to my boyfriend to pay my mom's medical bills and so that we and our 4 children can live there. My siblings feel like I have scammed them out of an inheritance. But I feel like I found a way to get the medical bills paid so that my family can live there, which is what my mom intended when she was here. So, am I the jerk for not splitting my mom's inheritance with my siblings? Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Why are you selling the house to your boyfriend? If you want to be able to keep the house, he could just pay your mother's bills/debts instead of buying the house. Then the house would stay in your name. Not the jerk. Your siblings got their inheritance. Don't split anything with them. Commenter 2. What happens when/if you and your boyfriend break up? Then the house is his, and you and your kids will be crap out of luck. You're not the jerk, but you haven't thought this through at all. Ops downvoted response. I understand this perspective fully, but I am a stay-at-home mom, so truly he could do that anywhere, I guess, considering he makes the money while I care for our 4 littles. Update 1 day later. So first, I want to say I am so appreciative of all the comments that truly seem to be looking out for my best interest. My oldest sister, Melanie, had made me believe that the debt needed to be paid from the house, not the cash estate. She never disclosed to us that there was enough to pay off my mom's medical bills. I contacted an estate attorney and ended up speaking with the attorney who was directly handling my mom's medical debts. He told me that there was no need to sell the house right now, and that my family could move into it without worrying about paying the medical debt until the future, if I ever decided to sell it. So that's what we are going to do. If we ever decide to sell it, which I don't see happening right now, as finding a 5-bedroom house is really hard to come by, we will split the sale of the house after her medical debts are paid and, of course, subtract any money we put into it going forward from their portion. I do agree that keeping the deed of the house in my name is the wise decision so that I will always have that security with my children if something were to ever happen between myself and my partner. I really appreciate all of the comments making me aware of that and all of the comments encouraging me to seek out a lawyer. As far as the coins go, I didn't mention them because I was upset I wasn't getting a portion. I understand that getting the house is a big deal. I mentioned what was happening with the coins to give an example of why I don't feel I can trust Melanie, and why I feel like she is not being honest about the money and the estate, which she wasn't. There is more money than just the coins that she is not being honest about. The deceptiveness is what hurts me. I feel like I am very open and honest with my family and would never try to deceive them. I would rather all conversations, especially with my family, hold integrity. Once I felt settled and secure after talking to the lawyer, I texted my sibling group chat to let them know what was going on, that the house will stay in my name. Melanie has been manipulating the situation, and once she thought I was selling it to my boyfriend, I knew she would tell all my other siblings that the problem was not that I was keeping the house, but that it would no longer be in my name. I can tell she is very angry that she can no longer spin the story to fit her narrative. But this is what my mom had intended in the first place, for myself and my children to have somewhere to live, and she always knew my boyfriend was part of our package deal. Melanie still seems mad, but I don't see the problem anymore. I'll keep this post updated if anything else comes up. Again, thank you to everyone for the advice. It really helped me out so much and put me in a much more secure position. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I'm so relieved you're not selling. Don't ever sell your house, even in the future, that's your children's inheritance. As for Melanie, it's time to cut the cord and count your losses. Ops response. I truly do not plan on selling the house. I would love to keep it in our family for my children. Commenter 2. Who is the executor/administrator/representative of the estate? And if the house was left to you alone, why would you need to share the proceeds from any future sale? Did your mom have a will? How do you know how much cash there was/how did your sibling get access to it? Same question about the coins. Who exactly is the attorney handling the medical debts? Who does he represent? The hospital/insurance company? The estate itself? Then why would he not know the amount of cash or other assets like the coins? Why would you be required to pay medical debts from the future sale of the house? Why would this not come from the cash assets of the estate now? How all of this is happening sounds really sketchy. Ops response. The power of attorney is my oldest sister, Melanie. She has not been honest about a lot. I've been told by the attorney I spoke with that I do not owe any money from a possible future sale of the house to my siblings. However, it seemed like the right thing to do. I have no idea how much cash money there is, only Melanie knows, and she won't give a direct answer. So I'm expecting nothing from that, considering how upset she is with me. Which is fine, because we have the house, which was really important for us. Second update 1 week later. I don't have much of an update currently, however, I don't think I'll have another update until next week. I just want to keep you guys in the loop about what's going on. Since I told Melanie that we plan on keeping the house, she has made it her mission, at least how I see it, to do everything in her power to bury me. Melanie is my big sister by 15 years, so I've always trusted what she's said and done naively, I guess. Like I've said before, Melanie was my mom's power of attorney. So, she made sure my mom's bills got paid toward the end, as that was her responsibility. Once I told Melanie we would be keeping the house, she told me she didn't have my mom's account information and withheld all the information I needed to pay her bills. I made all the phone calls, and all utilities were easily transferred into my name. However, going to the bank, of course, was a little more difficult. I can't even make a payment without knowing her account number. Melanie has kept all of my mom's paperwork and refuses to give me that information. So, I am currently in the process of waiting for the bank to email me a form to fill out to become a person on her account who can make payments. Then, once that hopefully gets accepted, I can apply for assumption of her account. I am hoping all of this goes smoothly with no bumps. Melanie is very angry with me. I told her I didn't feel like she was being fair in the way she was dividing the estate and that she continues to change the story to fit her narrative for that day or depending on who she is talking to. I told all of my siblings they could go through my mom's house if they wanted anything of hers before we donate. Everybody has had a key to my mom's house because we would all go over and help her with anything she needed. Melanie then went through the house to take all of the valuables, collectibles, anything that could be sold for decent money, so she could sell it herself and pocket it all. Mind you, I'm not talking about a couple of small trinkets. She took 4 large glass/real wood curio cabinets, 20 collectible cookie jars, and at least 100 collectible angels. And she did all of this in one day as soon as she found out I would be keeping the house. So, I asked my boyfriend to change the locks, and he did. I'm so glad he did, because I found out that they had been talking about taking the fridge and the stove. Since then, my boyfriend believes that they have been coming over daily to check the trash. They are crazy. Once she found out the locks had been changed, she truly tried to isolate me from my siblings and my dad. They are really the only family I have left. Unfortunately, they are all very easily manipulated. Truthfully, I don't really want to try to reconcile my relationship with them if they are so easily manipulated into cutting me out of their lives. And yes, she manipulated my dad as well. I lost my mom only a month and a half ago, and now, in the snap of a finger, I've lost everyone else. It's been very hard to deal with, but I truly don't feel as though I'm in the wrong here. Maybe my post seems biased, but I don't feel like I am withholding any information. I also contacted the lawyer who drew up the transfer on deaths so that I could make an appointment with her to finalize it now that my mom has passed. I also asked her if we could discuss my mom's estate. She then told me that no estate had been filed. I also contacted the probate court in our county to get a hold of my mom's will, and they also told me no will had been documented with them. All of that was Melanie's responsibility. It isn't right. I will definitely come back with an update at the end of January/beginning of February, as I have an appointment with a lawyer to discuss this next week. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Your sister is stealing from the estate. She shouldn't be in charge of the estate and can be removed from that duty. I'm not sure of the process. Commenter 2. Do you happen to have pictures of the items? I'm thinking if her estate goes into probate, I'm not sure, without a will, everything will be split evenly between all those who could have a claim. My mom has an aunt who died without a will, and she was a beneficiary. For the life of me, I can't remember if the aunt had children. Ops response. I don't have pictures, although some of the items are in the background of pictures I've taken over the years. I never thought my family would behave this way. I didn't know I needed to do my due diligence when it came to them until recently. Commenter 3. You would have had a case against her for taking items from the house if you hadn't been naive, after all the posts and advice here, enough to tell her and the others they could take whatever they wanted of your moms. Unless she took your belongings, you literally told her to take what she wanted. And she did. Ops response. Before my mom passed, she said everyone could have what they wanted and then we would sell anything of value and split that equally between all siblings. I was doing what my mom wanted. Of course, when my mom was here, we never would have thought Melanie would take it too far and go against my mom's wishes for her own agenda to sell for herself. Commenter 4. While that makes sense, you have effectively inherited the main asset but still want a percentage of everything else. You also need to consider how your siblings might feel. You are getting a house that is almost completely mortgage-free. You say your siblings have their own houses, but are they mortgage-free too? Are they debt-free? You have been given a great gift. Not many people get that in their lives, especially those with other siblings where everything is split. Your siblings may think you have got the house and are now coming back for your percentage of everything else. Do you sincerely feel this is fair when you got a house and they didn't? Have you worked out the value of the estate and the value of the house? Who is getting the best deal? You may say that the house is not part of the estate, so it doesn't count. But your mom was being unfair to everyone by gifting it to you. It puts you in an impossible position, and it makes your siblings resent you. Yes, your sister has done the wrong thing, but you need to step back and look at it all from their perspective too. Third update 1 month later. I think this will be my final update. There are still a few loose ends that need to be tied, but as long as that goes smoothly, there's no need for another update after this one. So let's hope for the best. I went to the lawyer to finalize the transfer on death. Everything has been signed as far as the deed is concerned. I spoke to the lawyer regarding Melanie, and she said that since Melanie had taken everything out as cash right before my mom passed, the only way to force her to start an estate with it would be to basically take her to court on counts of theft of my mom's money, which I really do not want to do to my sister. I understand what she has done is wrong, but I also understand I inherited a great asset, so I'm just going to call it a wash. A lot of you said not to split the sale of the house with my siblings if I ever decide to sell it. I feel conflicted about this. I'm not sure if I will ever sell it anyway. I have no plans to at the moment. But if I ever do decide to sell, I will definitely take into consideration what it's currently worth before any renovations, the time and money we put into it going forward, and of course, the cash inheritance I'm not receiving. I will just have to assume what everyone is getting right now because Melanie would not tell me that either. I could ask my siblings, but honestly, I don't want to put any more effort into it. I'll just assume the highest possible number without being unreasonable. It's their fault for not being honest to begin with. My relationships seem repaired with my siblings and my dad, but they are not the same. There is still some discomfort there, because of course, they still have a relationship with Melanie, and I don't feel comfortable being completely open with them like I once had been. I'm happy the relationships are at least somewhat repaired, though. I know they are just feeling caught in the middle between Melanie and me. They don't believe Melanie would lie, and they don't believe I would lie. And I think because I'm the youngest and Melanie is their older sister, they think I'm confused. Like I said before, Melanie is 15 years older than me, so she was an adult before I had even started school. She's always had more life and school experience up until the last 5 years or so. So, although I feel like I've caught up in the last few years, she will always have that older sister leg up on me when it comes to everyone else. Melanie is also now telling everyone that I need to get a personal loan for the house so that I can buy all of my siblings out. That doesn't even make any sense. I would not be able to get approved for such a large personal loan, and the interest would be outrageous compared to a home loan. It would have made more sense for me to get a home loan to buy the house if I needed to buy everyone out. Home loans are much easier to obtain, the interest is lower than a personal loan, and they will give you a much higher loan amount. But I wouldn't have agreed to that anyway because I would have gotten a home loan for a house that's move-in ready. My mom's house needs a lot of work. My mom put the house in my name for myself and my children to have and move into. When I spoke with the lawyer, she told me that when she sat down with my mom knew there was an option to put the house into all 7 of her children's names, and that would be a way to keep it out of court and allow me to buy my siblings out. But my mom didn't want to do that because she wanted the house in my name so I could move into it with no loan involved, and she knew my siblings wouldn't be getting a payout from it. I understand how that seems hurtful to my siblings, but that's just what happened, and they definitely got a cash, coin, car, and valuables to sell inheritance that I'm not a part of. With all this said, I think my siblings are conflicted about who is telling the truth because Melanie spins absolutely everything. I've decided to just be done with any more talk of it. Even if it's to defend myself, it's not worth sacrificing my mental health. I'm still in the process with the mortgage company to assume the mortgage, but I'm hoping that since the house is in my name and I am currently the one paying the mortgage, it's just paperwork and there won't be any hiccups. Thank you all for the wonderful advice and kind words through each update. They were all so helpful. I truly wouldn't have gotten to this point without the advice and kind words from you guys. Hopefully there isn't another update after this one. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. So, Melanie screwed you out of the cash, but what about the other siblings? Are they also stupid that they don't see Melanie keeping all the cash? Ops response. I'm sure she is giving them something. I wouldn't be surprised if she isn't being honest about the total to them, though, thus resulting in them getting less than they should. But they don't believe she would do that to them. Commenter. So why not block everyone and move on with life? You have a husband and children, why do you need to stay in touch with such toxic and silly family members? They don't help you with anything anyway. Ops response. I am not staying in touch with Melanie. I've written that relationship off. As for the others, they are my family and I love them, and I feel like they really are unsure of what to believe because they love Melanie just as much as they love me. So I give them grace, however, my relationships with them have become more surface level at this point. Commenter 2. Having been on your siblings' side of this mess, I know how they feel. Did you or your mother tell your siblings that you alone would get an entire house? Where is the honesty and truthfulness you ask of them? That is a huge asset. You write about coins and how you didn't get anything else from her estate, but you got a 5-bedroom house. You got the bulk of your mother's estate. You talk about how the items from inside your mother's home weren't handled correctly, but I'm sure your siblings were stunned by you getting her house and worried that their mother's things wouldn't be shared with them. They look at you and think, why would I trust you when you didn't tell us ahead of her death about the house? It makes no difference whether any of your siblings own a home or not. This is about your mother's estate and the fairness of its division. Once that house was in your name, it was yours alone. It feels like your mom was the one who was manipulated into signing that over to you. Op's response: nope, no manipulation. Melanie was completely aware of the situation the entire time, that's why I feel blindsided by all of her lies. She's the one who found the lawyer to write up the transfer on death. And the notion of me taking over the house was brought to me by her and my mom. It was not my idea. As for the other 5 siblings, their relationships with my mom were minimal. One is completely no contact with our entire family. My 2 brothers took my dad's side in the divorce. Another sister had a big drug problem, and my mom had custody of both of her kids because of it. This sister only saw her kids about twice a year. The final sister out of the 5 knew about me moving into the house all along, but she is being manipulated by Melanie. She's the only one I was majorly worried about repairing my relationship with. Should the other 4 have known? I guess so, but they were never really involved in the family dynamic, their own doing. Op adds an edit to her post. I just want to mention that Melanie was the power of attorney, which ends at death, and was not named the executor. Nobody was. My mom unfortunately did not make a will. She felt like all of us would sort things out fairly. She put Melanie in charge of dividing cash/assets because Melanie is the oldest, and she believed Melanie would be fair about it. At the time, I believed she would be fair about it too. We were both wrong. The lawyer told me that because there is no will and no named executor, if we wanted to start a legal estate, all of the siblings would have to agree to name an executor. But that would then bring me to needing to take Melanie to court for theft of my mom's money since it's all basically cash and unaccounted for. Yes, she is being unfair, and I do believe she is stealing. But I will not take my sister to court. I'm just choosing to let it go the best I can.